All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Final Bell episode 23. A little bit later of a episode than normally because we're a little unprepared in a sense, but we will add some stuff in the conclusion of it or in the beginning of it that we usually do not talk about. Well, this past weekend was the Royal Rumble for WWE on Saturday, and to really no surprise for the men's Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar loses the championship to Roman Reigns or to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, and the because of a distraction from Roman Reigns, where even Paul Heyman turned sides with Roman.
We see where Paul Heyman's allegiance truly lies.
Yes, and then Roman actually hits Brock with a title, and Bobby Lashley hits him with a spear and goes 1-2-3, wins the WWE Championship back, becomes a two-time WWE champion. Then Brock is now actually going to get a chance after Lashley's WWE title at Elimination Chamber. Mind you, the Elimination Chamber is not in the States. The Elimination Chamber is in Saudi Arabia. Yes, I don't know. Yes, I know.
First time hearing of it, but
I was seeing it. I was seeing an article that the Elimination Chamber will be in Saudi Arabia. I don't know why they would do that, but I'm not WWE. I don't question WWE's logic on things. But to no surprise, Brock Lesnar ends up being, I think number 30? Surprise number 30 in the Royal Rumble, and wins it all, eliminating everybody that was included in it. And now there's heavy speculation now that what was supposed to happen at the Royal Rumble, at day one, with Brock and Roman going for the Universal title, which a lot of sources, I would assume a lot of sources were saying that Brock Lesnar was supposed to win that match against Roman Reigns to become the Universal Champion yet again, but it didn't happen because Roman ended up getting COVID. But now it's going to be happening at WrestleMania. Another Brock Lesnar.
Potentially WrestleMania.
Another Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania.
Yep.
WWE, what are you doing? We've seen it. We've been there, seen it before.
But yet, there is the possibility that WWE throws a curveball at us and has Brock attempt to recapture the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Or somehow combine the WWE and Universal titles with winning it.
That's what was initially planned, I've heard.
Well, it could still happen. I mean, he is in the Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship. So, well, actually, I think it's for the WWE Championship. I'm pretty sure it is. But, yes. If he does win it, then there's speculation now that because he won the Royal Rumble, he'll choose Roman and be like, well, I already have one. I want to grab the other. So it wouldn't shock me. It's WWE. They've done it for the WWE and the World Heavyweight titles. So why don't you see it with the WWE and the Universal Championships? I mean, it's WWE.
You have one world title. You really don't need two.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, you really should have one world title because then you could have them compete on both brands. Yeah. But again, I think the one that was a little bit more exciting that is going to lead into a lot of great stuff is the women's Royal Rumble to a big pop, and I mean a big pop.
Surprise too. Nobody expected her to show up.
Ronda Rousey returns to the Royal Rumble. There was nothing. No signs from anywhere, any dirt sheets or anything there on. Nobody knew about Ronda Rousey. It was the biggest surprise because, a lot of things like, oh, well, this person's going to be in it, this person's going to be in it, it's high speculation, this person's going to be in it.
Well,
There was
half the...
nothing, and I mean nothing about Ronda Rousey being in the, coming, like, anywhere close to coming back in the Women's Royal Rumble match.
Well, plus not, now that, I don't know why they do it, but now that, like, half of your Rumble matches, like, the participants get spoiled, I don't know why WWE does that, because, like, the whole point of the Rumble and the entrance in the Rumble is to be surprised every now and then.
That's why I think the Women's Royal Rumble match was a lot better than the men's, because
it was men's... better booked.
Yeah, the men's was, a lot of it was already announced who was going to be in it, so there wasn't really many surprises at all for it.
I feel like, sorry to cut you off, I feel like they should have kept Johnny Knoxville's entrance into the Rumble a secret, because I feel like he probably would have gotten, like, like, people would have been like, what? Johnny Knoxville in the Rumble? Like, instead of they actually already announced it. Like, people still were like, what? Johnny? But it would have made more sense to do it actually at the Rumble than spoil it a few weeks before.
Yeah, exactly. So, to no surprise there, Ronda Rousey does win it all at number 28. There was a few, people that were back in it, Nikki and Brie Bella, Kelly.
Let's not fail to mention
Lita is back. We've already talked about it, how it was very high speculation that she was going to go after the Raw Women's title. Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening at the Elimination Chamber. Lita and Becky Lynch will be going after the Raw Women's Championship.
Should be a good
It was
match.
kind of hilarious because I saw something on Facebook after Raw went off the air. Becky Lynch lost in 13 seconds to Bianca Belair by her finishing move, and actually got the fans happy about it. So
revenge. It's revenge for Bianca because she lost in that same amount of time to Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title.
Yeah, I mean, it was not for a title, but I just find it hilarious that happens.
But let's also not fail to mention that the door was open, the forbidden door was open from WWE. The Knockouts champion, Mickie James. Hardcore Country, Mickie James.
Yeah, and she showed up with her title, too.
She showed up with her title. They played Hardcore Country for her instead of her WWE theme song. So, in every sense of the word, you got Hardcore Country Mickie James instead of the WWE Mickie James that we are all used to.
Right, and honestly, I think that was cool that they did that for her. I think they were willing to work with anything.
She also lasted a pretty good amount of time in the Rumble, so it was good business between WWE and Impact, as opposed to, like, oh, let's say they have her show up with her belt and, like, her, they give her the whole entrance and everything, and then as soon as she gets in, then she, like, immediately back out. That would have been bad business, and, then everybody would have crapped all over it on social media, but they actually gave her a good amount of time, so you can't ask for anything more out of that.
For sure, Michelle McCool was in this Rumble. Michelle McCool, and also Melina.
Yes, another forbidden door being opened.
Yeah, even though they gave her exactly the same WWE spiel.
Yes.
Like, well, you can be back in it, but we're not going to do the same thing for you.
We're not going to
like
make you that
James.
living legend type.
Even though I think that it would have been better to have her as such, but it's all right. I mean, you still got to see Melina in a Rumble for the first time in a long time. But yeah, so it's an interesting stuff. The Royal Rumble always is probably the best pay-per-view for WWE going forward. I'm sorry, WrestleMania isn't the pay-per-view to see anymore. It's the Royal Rumble, which does set up some interesting stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's gotten WWE probably talking because now it's set up some interesting stuff for Royal Rumble. I just think that the WWE kind of had no choice to do this because they were very desperate. Like, well, we have nobody, but here, let's have Ronda Rousey come back. Let's have Brock Lesnar win. They're very desperate. They want to make sure that Rumble is really good because they know they don't have the money. And they said it was a great fiscal year for them, which I think is complete and utter bullcrap.
They released way too many people last year. How can you call it a great fiscal year for them?
But, for somebody that has watched it, that's not really watching it right now, I think WWE's got some good plans, at least for the next few months. After such, it's probably going to be the same old bullcrap WWE you're going to get.
Well, I mean, they have good plans, but how many plans are going to be tossed out the window after you release more talent?
Yeah, I mean...
Because Black Wednesday is just around the corner.
That's true.
The annual Black Wednesday where they release a bunch of superstars after WrestleMania.
Yeah, it probably will happen. But for right now, this is actually the first time in a while that they haven't actually released wrestlers.
Good point.
So maybe they're in a good standpoint. Maybe they just had to get rid of a lot of, I guess, to them, their sense, the dead weight emotional baggage that was surrounding them. They got rid of it. I mean, there is some new talent that they can build around, don't get me wrong, but literally the only new guy that's there that hasn't been there since either the start or before they got really going with everything is probably Austin Theory, but I don't think there's really many plans with him as of late, but who the hell knows?
I mean, he was a standout from the Triple H era of NXT, and he, they kind of just threw him to the wolves on Monday Night Raw. So, and they have this story now with him and Vince, which I hope there's a big payoff to that, and it's not just going to lead to oh, you didn't impress me enough, therefore you're fired, get off my show.
You're right. So, going back into the main side of things that we always talk about, but the only two things that we're not going to be talking about, again, is going to be Impact and the NWA, so it'll be a little bit of a shorter show. The only thing that we do have is Dynamite and Rampage for AEW, so we're kind of bringing it back to when we were first starting the show with mostly AEW. It's going to be only for the 1 week. I mean, next week we should be back up in the full swing of things, but I saw a couple decent signs of the week, but the one that I saw that I think that was really interesting because Cody Rhodes hasn't really been the most perceived kind of guy, but I saw a sign. Ohio loves Cody.
Yeah.
Cody actually surprisingly didn't get booed badly in Ohio, which I'm shocked about. Because anywhere else he's been, he's getting booed big time, but Ohio actually sort of still is on his side. And I'm quite shocked about that, but I guess that sign does stand pretty true to what I saw. But the starting match, which I was quite shocked about, is the unification match of the TNT Championships. Sammy Guevara, to really no surprise, beats Cody Rhodes to become the undisputed TNT champion.
In a 5-star match, by the way, too.
Yes, there was a lot of
the official stamp of approval of the 5-star match rating from Dave Meltzer himself on the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Yeah, I think I want to say this is probably the first time that AEW has had that 5-star match caliber.
I think you're right.
Which I'm sorry, Dave Meltzer. That just means that you're very biased against AEW because you've been going for WWE for so many damn years. Well, so to finally rate an AEW match a 5-star rating is very impressive. It means that they're in the right step forward. But let me tell you something.
That match could have been 6 if it was in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, probably, but it's all right.
I love to make that joke.
Yeah, but the thing is about this is there was a lot of high spots that were really good in this match.
Yeah.
The leapfrog cutter by Sammy Guevara from the one ladder to the other ladder on top, man, that was one hell of a freaking spot.
Sammy is crazy. But not as crazy as the spot that he did later in the match.
Yeah, the shooting star press from the ladder to the other ladder. Man, I tell you what.
Oh, that.
I am the ladder. is why I say in that moment, because he ricocheted the hell off that ladder and didn't break. And you can definitely tell a difference between a wooden ladder.
You mean the senton?
Yes, okay, the senton from
But,
the ladder to the other ladder, just ricocheted, freaking ricocheted right off of it afterwards.
Yeah, he did.
Just shows you that what happens when it's a wooden ladder, like in WWE, and a steel ladder that's painted black in AEW, because that was definitely the site of, well, that's steel. Steel is not very hard to break at all. I don't care how heavy you are, you're not gonna break a steel ladder like that easily. And when you're like 170 something pounds of soaking wet like Sammy Guevara, you're not gonna break that ladder.
Come on, he's jacked.
I know, but still, there was another, I want to say, decent spot. Can't really remember too much of the match for spot wise, but it was a really good match, and I can see why it was perceived a very good rating by Dave Meltzer. It was a really back and forth action. It was a very, that was the kind of match that was very considered to maybe could have been on Revolution for the TNT title. It's kind of sad that it was put on Dynamite, because now you're like, okay, Sammy now is a TNT champion. Who is next for him?
I think a bigger question though is what's next for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, he's still off a contract. I will say there was a lot of rumors that he was going to show up in a Rumble. He didn't, but there was one man that was baiting him in to show up in the Rumble. Was none other than AJ Styles himself. AJ wanted Cody to show up in the Rumble.
I did see that.
Kind of makes you wonder what would have happened if Cody did show up and AJ Styles was in the ring. Would they beaten the living shit out of each other? I don't know.
I think a better question is would they have given Cody Rhodes his AEW theme song of wrestling has more than one royal family and adrenaline?
I don't know. Probably not. They probably would have given
him the Smoke and Mirrors theme for all we know.
Yeah, probably. Came out with his little mask there or something like that.
Grotesque Cody Rhodes with blonde hair and a neck tattoo.
Yeah, so we'll happen to see what happens with Cody Rhodes going forward. And same thing with Sammy. I would assume that's... Well, I will say this. Sammy might have a future opponent, because Dan Lambert and his guys think that they get a shot, deserve a shot. Could be Scorpio Sky that's next for the TNT Championship. So don't question out Scorpio Sky.
Don't rule out Scorpio Sky. Which, if it is Scorpio Sky, then it would be, in my opinion, a well-deserved opportunity, because last championship opportunity, single championship opportunity that he had was for the world title back when Dynamite first started.
Right,
in 2019. So, that's the thing too. Scorpio Sky hasn't been a champion in AEW since he was with SCU.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of sad.
As the tag team champion.
The only reason why I brought up Scorpio Sky is because Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page were in the skybox watching the TNT Championship Unification ladder match very closely. Even had the lights pinning up on them up there in the skybox. So there's high speculation that, Sammy has his next opponent. It's going to be Scorpio Sky, and I would assume what's going to happen is within the next month, because this is February, next month will be the Revolution pay-per-view. I would think that within the next month or so, they're going to be setting up Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship,
that would be nice.
Which would be nice. I think it could be a good match, but we'll happen to see. Definitely watch Rampage or Dynamite and Rampage to see if I am right. I'm pretty sure that's the plan, at least, but we'll happen to see. Going forward, Powerhouse Hobbs wants Dante Martin one more time. I don't know what it is about Powerhouse Hobbs, and then
It's
Also,
fine
Dante
if you want
Martin.
to further that feud, but much like the Sheeta and Serena Deeb thing, it's like, I like okay, that's the thing for me too. Is I'm glad that feud is finally over because like you know, man, those two just had match after match after match, and it was starting to get a little stale.
Yeah, I don't mind Dante Martin and Powerhouse Hobbs getting involved together. I mean, something, but it's probably going to be the same outcome. It's probably going to be Dante Martin beats Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, I could be wrong, but we'll happen to see. Dante Martin did beat Powerhouse Hobbs already. Don't be shocked if it happens again. It'll probably be on a Rampage or something like that. I don't think it's. I don't want to really crap on it that much, but it kind of seems like something where it'd be put on Rampage instead of Dynamite. But again, we have seen matches like that on Dynamite as well. They only do it like that because you gotta give some of the main stars that are on there every single week a rest to have some other stars that are not on there as often wrestle. So we'll happen to see what happens. But very interesting match that will be happening. Ricky Starks is ready for that challenge for that Jay Lethal issued to him. If nobody knows, now Ricky Starks and Jay Lethal will wrestle this Friday on Rampage for the
FTW World
FTW.
Championship.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
because Jay Lethal threw out the challenge a while ago, and just now Ricky Starks is finally going to accept it. I don't know why it took him so long to accept, but regardless, we're going to get hopefully a great match between Jay Lethal and Ricky Starks for the FTW World title.
yeah, I think so. I mean, Jay Lethal really hasn't done much ever since coming to AEW, but I think that he will start getting involved a little bit more. I'm hoping so, at least, but we'll definitely see. But Jay Lethal, yes, he will be wrestling Ricky Starks, and who knows, he might just win the FTW World Heavyweight title.
It'll be another belt to add to his resume.
Well, I didn't want to go too far into this next match, but Wardlow wins in a 2-on-1 handicap match in front of his hometown, where Shawn Spears wanted to try to take the thunder away from Wardlow's moment with the chair, where Wardlow's like, no, 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 you don't go in there and steal my thunder and try to attack with the chair. Where Shawn Spears is like, all right, good job, big man. The Powerbomb Symphony is really starting to grow. This time it was like at least 5 or 6 between each man he was in the ring with in that 2-on-1 handicap match.
The Powerbomb Symphony is over, brother.
Yeah. So is Wardlow. When is Wardlow? That's if you're in that ring, you better watch out because the Symphony is coming. Wardlow is that damn good, but he's also doing this against local talents where he can't really do it against main talents because he did lose to CM Punk, even though he gave him
after the Powerbomb Symphony.
After he gave him 8 power bombs. But again, going forward, Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, and Santana Ortiz, they're not really seeing eye to eye in this match. But they did beat 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. After the match, Chris Jericho goes out of the ring and leaves Santana and Ortiz by themselves as they're heading out. There's definitely some tensions brewing between Chris Jericho and his former or his Inner Circle brethren. Because even during the match, they were not tagging Chris Jericho in at all. They were tagging each other in and out.
Chris Jericho had to tag himself in whenever he would want to get into the match.
But Chris Jericho did get involved to help them win that match, and then after just kept on going up the ropes and like, hey man, I had to do what I had to do to get us to win because you guys weren't, trusting me at all. So I'm still saying it's going to be, I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho and Pride and Powerful are going to break up from the Inner Circle, where I think you're going to see Jake Hager, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara wrestle Eddie Kingston and Pride and Powerful there. I can see it happening, but then again, Pride and Powerful will eventually probably break away from Inner Circle to do their own thing in the tag team division, which is something I kind of wanted to see for a while because, I would think that they're kind of close in for those tag team titles eventually, so we'll happen to see. Now, in a couple of weeks, which I don't know if I like this, I think it should honestly just be at Revolution. But Lance Archer wants a Texas death match against Adam Hangman Page for the AEW World Heavyweight title. I kind of figured there was going to be a stipulation to this match, but that's what Lance Archer wants, and Lance Archer is going to get it. Adam Hangman Page accepts the challenge, and in at least another week or so, we will see Lance Archer and Adam Hangman Page wrestle for the AEW World Heavyweight title in a Texas death match.
Won't be the true Texas death match like we saw at Impact's Hard to Kill pay-per-view, but regardless, it'll be a great match. Essentially, last man standing.
I know, I think so too. They can beat the living hell out of each other. Adam Hangman Page needs to still show that he is one of the best champions in AEW, and who better to do it against the Texan himself, Lance Archer. Another sign of the week that I saw, CM Punk is better than MJF. Yeah, we already know that. But he's definitely going to have to prove it later tonight in his hometown. Can CM Punk beat MJF? That is a true question. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Actually, we'll talk about it in our next point here. We will finally get the match next week in Chicago to see MJF and CM Punk. If you had to make a prediction or thoughts about that match, who do you think that is going to go into Chicago and get the victory? Because I'm very high speculating as this is where CM Punk's finally going to get his first loss.
I'm thinking so too. I think MJF is actually going to get the win. Maybe by dirty tactics, maybe get a clean victory, but something tells me that MJF is going to be the one to beat CM Punk.
Yeah, I don't think their whole rivalry is done. I think this is what's going to really kind of kickstart it to maybe getting a match at Revolution, but what better way to piss off CM Punk than want another match than making him lose in front of his hometown crowd in Chicago? So I'm going for MJF here. I really do think that he's going to put that first L on CM Punk's record.
Yeah.
To lead into a second match at Revolution. It would make the most sense. So Julia Hart will be the next one on line for the TBS title. Thoughts? We'll talk about it on Rampage. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But yes, Layla Hirsch beats Red Velvet. Kind of shocked about that. I really would have thought that it would have been Red Velvet, but Layla Hirsch really showing a very good side as a heel.
Yeah.
Could eventually lead into a future title match, which I'm hoping that's what's going to be the case for her, because she's done amazing work in AEW ever since, even though she's not there all the time, but she is doing some great, amazing work in AEW. So I think that future title shot, even if it's for the TBS title, would be good. So, going for it, Britt Baker talks about how she has been making history ever since being in AEW and will do whatever it takes to be the woman of the decade. Honestly, I mean, I don't think she's there yet, but maybe she could solidify being the best woman of the decade. But let me tell you something, she still has a hell of a lot more to accomplish before she can be the woman of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you are having an impressive record as the AEW Women's World Champion doesn't mean that, I'm not discrediting what she said. She's had an impressive run as a champion. She hasn't lost ever since winning that championship. But let me tell you something. I really do think that we haven't seen who's going to go after her for the title, but when we do get a opponent for her at Revolution, I would think that maybe that's the time where she'll lose the championship. But as of right now, I have no idea who could go after Britt Baker's championship. I really don't. Um,
We all thought that she had the right challenger to take her title from her many times, but it has proven not to be the case.
yeah. So
at this point, who is
So going forward, Nyla Rose wants Ruby Soho because she is pissed off at what happened in the TBS Championship tournament because she thinks she should be the TBS champion because of what she did in that match that caused her to move on. Nyla Rose, even if you won that match, you still wouldn't have been able to win a TBS championship. So now Nyla Rose and Ruby Soho will be going up against each other. I want to say later tonight's Dynamite, if not Rampage, they're going to be going up against each other. But as of right now, I think that it might be the match that could help Ruby Soho kind of be able to get back into the winning track and maybe could go after Britt Baker for the Women's World Championship. So we'll happen to see what happens with this. But as of right now, Nyla Rose doesn't seem as much of a credible woman as she once was. The former two-time Women's World Champion, right? Two-time? Or is it one-time?
what?
Nyla Rose.
One time.
Yeah, the former one-time AEW Women's World Champion who had an impressive run as a champ, but ever since losing that title, really hasn't been seen or heard of much at all. So her going up against Ruby Soho is kind of interesting. They're kind of just putting this match together. Oh well, because you beat me and stuff like that. Now I want to go after you, and it kind of seems a little odd to me. But I'm hoping. That's why I'm saying I hope it leads into something bigger. I really do. Um, the House of Black will face off against Pac and Penta. Our thoughts. The House of Black will face off against Pac and Penta. Our thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that it's going to lead to the House of Black beating Pac and Phoenix or Pac and Penta, but I will be very surprised if they throw us a curveball and have Pac and Penta beat the House of Black. But then again, how could you not have Pac and Penta? How could you not have Pac and Penta lose to the House of Black with their amazing finisher Dante's Inferno?
Right. I mean, the House of Black. I really do think that they're gonna beat Pac and Penta here. I mean, it just makes the most sense to have them not lose that match. I really do think that that's what's going to be the plan, that they're going to beat Pac and Penta because they're starting off. I think that they want to build them up as a tag team, eventually go after the AEW World Tag Team titles, and who knows, they could be the ones that beat Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, beat Jurassic Express for the World Tag Team titles. And I think that's what's probably going to happen. They're going to, beat them for those tag team titles. I think that's what's going to be happening. But again, who knows? But I would think that's probably why they brought them in as a tag team to eventually get the tag team gold.
They could be dual champions.
They very well could. Orange Cassidy beats Adam Cole in the Lights Out match.
But let's not fail to mention who debuted.
Yeah.
He was very elite. He is now very elite and very evil. Danhausen has been sent monies. Danhausen has been sent a big old bag of money by Tony Elite.
Yes, it wasn't the debut I was expecting, But it's a debut that we got Danhausen, who got crapped on by Vince Russo because people are
He
like,
just doesn't understand Danhausen.
no, it's because no, it's not that he doesn't really like. He doesn't understand it. He's like, who the hell is he? Like, I've been around the business for, forever,
Yes,
bro.
he
And I don't,
doesn't understand Danhausen.
but he had a valid point. 75% of people really don't know who he is. So a lot of the people in that crowd are very confused and very happy to see him because they've been having signs, they've been chanting for Danhausen, so they definitely know who he is. But most of that
If you
crowd,
don't
if
know
you
who,
think about it, that've been around really don't. They know a lot of the main stars, but they don't know very much of who Danhausen is.
if
So
you
I
don't
guess I
know who
can understand.
Danhausen is, watch his YouTube channel, a bunch of his matches. You will know who Danhausen is and what he does after watching a bunch of matches from him and just in general like watching his YouTube channel because that man is like, he's hilarious to say the least.
So Danhausen did not get physical because he is still suffering from a busted knee.
Yeah.
As you could tell when he got out of there, he was still kind of walking a little limpy. I mean, you can definitely tell he wasn't 100%, but yes, he is now in All Elite Wrestling. Very elite and very evil, Danhausen.
So now that the presence of Danhausen is in AEW, unfortunately there is going to be no more swearing. Or if there is swearing, then Danhausen will curse everybody. Everybody will be cursed.
Yeah, we'll happen to see what happens with him going forward. But
Also
man, can we just
now,
talk about how back and forth Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole were in that
oh
match?
yes,
I was not expecting Orange Cassidy to win that match. I mean, it doesn't matter for records at all. Adam Cole, after that match, even with it lost to Orange Cassidy, is still going to be undefeated in AEW. Hence why they wanted that lights out match. They didn't want to go against record because they didn't want Adam Cole's record to go
yeah.
down. Right now, he is currently the number one ranked male wrestler, which usually would prompt have him go after the AEW World Heavyweight title, but unfortunately, that's not what's going to. Oh, I can't say that. It could still happen. It could still happen, but I still think there's going to be the Elite versus the Best Friends at Revolution. Um, and then I would think that probably Archer and um, Adam Page will also still happen at Revolution, but we'll happen to see what happens. So definitely watch closely on that. But yes, Orange Cassidy does beat Adam Cole in high fashion. And kind of interesting that Beach Break was in Cleveland, but I guess there is a beach that is in Cleveland, but is seriously cold. I wouldn't suggest going there right now. But man, I tell you what, Jon Moxley still looking good in his matches on Rampage as he beats Anthony Bowens. Anthony Bowens, or actually Max Caster, brought up about how his wife still hasn't called him, which prompted Jon Moxley, as soon as they went in, to start attacking him. As soon as that went in, um, Bowens and Jon Moxley went back and forth. I tell you, Anthony Bowens can stand in the ring with anybody in the business. He's one hell of a wrestler. Not just a tag team guy, but a hell of a singles wrestler. So, if they were ever to break up the Acclaim, you definitely know that Anthony Bowens can hold his own.
Yeah.
Max Caster, on the other hand, I don't know. He's just a big loudmouth freestyle rapper that thinks that he's better than everybody else. But they Acclaim themselves, man, definitely good. When they get that title opportunity, which I think is going to be coming soon. Oh, well, actually, no, it did. It already did. They claimed, I think, already did have their title opportunity after Jurassic Express. They did lose. Of course, we'll talk about, the other tag team title match that happened on Rampage later. But, yes, Jon Moxley beats Anthony Bowens to to big surprise, yet again, Bryan Danielson is still watching Jon Moxley's matches very closely. High speculation that Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson will go up against each other at Revolution.
We want it.
Who knows? It could be. It could really help to see who could be next in line for the AEW World Heavyweight Title after this they wrestle each other. I think it's good to have Moxley back because now you can freshen up some things and have him go up against anybody that is there.
Yeah.
Tony Khan himself has said that he has missed Jon Moxley big time and he's happy that he's back. Yes, we all missed you, John. I'm glad that you're back because AEW has not been the same without you.
I'm glad you're healthy.
Yes, I'm glad you're healthy too because he looks a little bit more friendlier. He looks like he's having fun, happy again. Because before he went into rehab, he looked like he was just not having fun, just not in the right mental state at all.
Yeah.
Now he looks like he's having fun, interacting, well with the kids and the crowd and stuff like that. Yeah, I know he was in his hometown crowd, so he probably acted a little differently because of that sense. But when he was in a crowd, he was, clapping with the kids and seemed a little bit not as angry and stuff like that. But I know that's all about his character too. But still, I'm hoping those past demons are not going to haunt him again in the future. But I'm glad that Jon Moxley is healthy. But there might be a character demon that he might have to go through. It is Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon himself. So I think it's going to be a good match. Sucks that neither man has a title because I think that deserves to be at least a championship match between those two. But again, it's going to be a great showdown that I wish. I have no idea who could be the winner of it, but I think it's going to be a hell of a great match at Revolution.
Yeah, definitely.
Going for it, Andrade wants to talk with Sting. They get Darby to join Andrade and Matt Hardy. Thoughts about that? He thinks that
not gonna happen.
He thinks that Darby is working for Sting. Darby's like, you think I'm working for Sting? I don't work for Sting. Sting is just his mentor. It doesn't mean he's working for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt and Andrade has talked about it before. The AHFO. They want to get more people to join them. They
want to recruit people.
Yes, recruit more people to join them. Of course, starting with Darby Allin. Didn't work out so very well. To the result that he pulled a bat from the chair that he was sitting in. Andrade's like, I don't want any problems. I'm just here to talk with Sting. And then he left. So I wonder what he wants to talk to Sting about. And will Andrade actually eventually get the chance to talk with Sting?
Probably not if Darby Allin is around.
Yeah, probably not. But man, this match was a very good back and forth action. I was quite shocked about it. But FTR does beat Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson. But man, let me tell you something. Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson could definitely be, that future tag team that could do some damage in that tag team division. Because Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson stood pretty toe-to-toe to FTR somewhat in that match before FTR did come back and beat them. But Brock and Lee Johnson, man, they're showcasing that the factory is just no joke at all. That the next, the next generational talent there have come to work. Because both men as individual wrestlers probably not that great, but them as tag team partners, man, could make some damage. Next Rampage, we will finally get to see Thunder Rosa against Mercedes Martinez. Yes, finally a long-awaited match. The long-awaited back and forth bickering between the two is going to be finally done and over with. They will compete against each other on Rampage. If you had to choose who could win that match, who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be Mercedes Martinez getting her first win against Thunder Rosa, or do you think that Thunder Rosa will start off her AEW run at with an 0-1 record, so then she can go forward to probably getting a title opportunity.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to call. Do they even go a time limit draw?
They could. This could probably lead into a Revolution type match.
But
So it wouldn't shock me.
at the same time, I also think that they might just give the bait to Thunder Rosa to have a loss because a loss wouldn't hurt. Like it would hurt her, but it wouldn't hurt her really in the long run. If you ask me.
Yeah, I think that Mercedes Martinez might win here. I mean, I think they got some big plans and big things for Mercedes Martinez, hence why they brought her into AEW. But as far as Thunder Rosa, it just sucks because I think that she's a really good wrestler. It just sucks that she hasn't really gotten that chance to win a championship in AEW yet.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that her time is coming. Hell, talking about what we were talking about earlier, Jade Cargill beats Julia Hart to retain her TBS championship. Man, Julia Hart just didn't look that good in that match at all. But going forward, there after this, our main event, Jurassic Express beats Private Party, and after the match, I put this down, the Ass Boys, Billy and Colton Gunn, and Billy Gunn beat down Jurassic Express to lead to further speculation that yes, it will be Gun Club against Jurassic Express for those tag team titles.
No. See, it's not the Gun Club. Now that Danhausen is there, they are the Ass Boys, and Danhausen will make sure that their new name is the Ass Boys, and accompanied by their father, Billy Ass.
Yeah, I kind of find it hilarious that Danhausen is there because Austin Gunn wasn't very happy that he debuted in AEW because of what he said about them.
Yeah.
So
they are Ass Boys now. Embrace it, Austin Gunn. You are an ass boy.
That will
so is your brother Colton.
Yes. So this will conclude this episode of No Final Bell. Please follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. Don't make sure to watch, which it is out. Well, we're recording on Tuesday, so it's already out. Make sure to watch on a turn 4. Make sure to also watch Sports Talk every Sunday at 9 a.m. Also out of turn 4 every Tuesday at 5. And make sure to watch this channel every Wednesday at 5 as well. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe for every episode and every show that we post on Tingle Sports Entertainment. As always, we will see you in the next episode.